If you've ever followed a crochet pattern perfectly and still thought to yourself, why doesn't this look right? This video is definitely for you. The problem is that we were taught to count stitches and count rows, but we weren't actually taught to see what it is that the designer was trying to do. All of the little aspects that go into a design, like how the designer wanted the pattern to flow, what kind of structure was necessary in order to make that happen. We weren't taught to see all that. We were just taught to follow. And honestly, that's really why frogging happens even when nothing is wrong. Now, I don't know about you, but I have numerous times like this doesn't look right. So I'll frog it and I'll redo it and I'll count. I've got the right amount of stitches, but it just doesn't look right. That's because I didn't understand what the designer was trying to do. So confusion really isn't failure. Patterns really don't fail you. Perspective does. So have you ever heard the phrase, you can't see the forest for the trees? There are many, many patterns. And one in particular is the Fiesta pattern. I've had this pattern since the beginning of 2023, and I just now was able to do it. But that was because my perspective changed. I stopped looking at the stitch count and started looking at, okay, what is she trying to build here? Because designers don't see instructions. They don't see stitch counts. They see patterns. They see rhythm, shape, flow, relationships. So it's kind of is like you can't see the forest for the trees, because you can't see the design when you're focused on the stitch counts and the row counts and things like that. So I want you to think about that a little bit. Next time when you have a pattern that is just not working, take a step back. Try to shift your perspective and look at that pattern the way the designer would. What is she trying to create? She or he. Okay, I got to give my love to my men designers, because there needs to be more of you. Take a step back and see, or try to even look at, all right, well, what is this designer trying to do? What pattern is she trying to create? What rhythm, what shape is she trying to create? Let me show you what I mean.
For example, this is the mixed cluster stitch. Now, I actually did a tutorial on how to do this stitch. I will leave a card above and also in the description below the video, but I wanted to use this as an example because when you think about repetition, flow, balance, change, this really does show a lot of it. So you'll see that there's all through here, you've got the lines that go this way, but also the lines that go this way. So that gives an amazing balance. It's not vertical or horizontal. I mean, if you turn it this way, you get pretty close to the same effect. But this is a saga square from Tina. Again, I'll leave a link to her and the pattern in the description below. She uses a lot of double crochets and single crochets to create these geometric designs. It's not just about the stitch count, because as you see, she starts with a circle. Many designs start with a circle, like magic ring kind of thing, and then end up in a square. One of the things that I love that she does is that a lot of squares have that open on the corner, and the decisions that she made eliminated those holes. So instead, you're left with just the design. She uses a lot of repetition. There's a lot of change going on here because every row is different. But again, it creates this overall balance. Using different colors creates that kind of geometric pop that you need for this one. Here is another example from Tina. This is the terrazzo. You notice how where the double crochets come to a point right here, and it leaves that flat right there where the single crochets are. That's extra dimension, extra texture for this design. So it's not just about stitch count. I just wanted to show you that the decisions that she made really added layers upon layers upon layers to this design.
If this way of thinking about crochet feels different to you, you might want to subscribe, because perspective is the foundation that everything else in this channel is built on. Okay, so every design has an intention, whether it is to create an octagon style shape, flowers upon flowers, stars within flowers. Every choice that a designer makes solves a problem. You've been crocheting for a while now. You know that there are some patterns when you start them, it's like, this works. And it's less about the counts and more about, yeah, this really does flow. Ooh, this is nice. This is nice. And sometimes it's like, I don't get it. I don't understand, because even though they show you pictures in the pattern, it's almost like the stitches and the parentheses and the everything gets all muddled. Matter of fact, let me show you. I had a comment from a lady and I think this is a good time to bring it up. So she says, I can't read most patterns and keep things straight in my head. When they start having the parentheses and asterisks and repeat this from back there with that other asterisk and continue on this and that, just give me a good silent demonstration and tell me what to do and I'm good. You know what? I feel that. Like when I read that comment, I was like, she knows exactly what I mean. I've always been a very visual learner. I can do video tutorials like nonstop. The patterns mess me up though because it distracts me. When I got that message, it took me a long time to figure out why. Why is it so difficult to follow a written pattern? Well, not only can I see them doing it, but with a pattern you get stuck in the directions, the abbreviations and the punctuation and the numbers. Okay, it gets overwhelming. But when you step back and start looking at the design, you already know. Every pattern tells you what stitches they use. They tell you how to use those stitches. So if you have an idea about the overall feel that the designer wants, when you start looking at the pattern through a designer's eye, it helps you put those pieces together with the written pattern. So next time you open up a pattern, don't start with the stitches. Start with the rhythm. Start with the flow. Start trying to visualize what that designer is aiming for. Use the pictures in the pattern because this is where learning to crochet differently begins. Not by doing more, but by seeing more. Now, this series is all about learning how to see different things. This is where everything starts. This is the very first shift. So from here, we're going to start decoding how designers think. We're going to start delving into the choices that they make for the different patterns. Perspective is the foundation for everything else we'll explore, like I said earlier, but it always starts here with perspective.